Joining me now to discuss this is Eminence Advisory's Dimitri Burshtein. Dimitri, thank you for joining me. Am I right? Would this put rents up? Would it simply move properties out of the hands of mum and dad investors and into the hands of wealthier investors?
It's hard to say, Caleb, because we don't really know what the government has on offer. But if there is a change to the so-called discount, and it's not really a discount or negative gearing, all it's doing is increasing the cost of capital. And I'm yet to see a market in where you increase the price of inputs and you reduce the price of outputs. So it will, on everything else equal, put upward pressure on prices, in my view.
So what would be the point? I mean, I know Treasury's looking at it, but presumably Treasury's looking at it because they've been tasked to come up with potential ideas. Is it simply for the purpose of the tax revenue? Because clearly it would seem there is no genuine reason in terms of the housing market to do it.
Well, it is about the revenue, and they're obviously getting political pressure on intergenerational equity. But the problem is you can't fix intergenerational equity by redistribution. You have to address the issue, and that was put so eloquently and clearly by Bill Kelty this week, that the top marginal income tax rate of 47% is usurious. It's confiscatory, as Paul Keating used the words. The reason people are going into investment property is because it's one of the last bastions of tax avoidance they can have to get away from the top marginal tax rate. And that's the problem. And what hasn't been touched in this conversation is not just the 47% top marginal tax rate, it's the relatively low place in which it kicks in.
Yes.
So, for example, the top marginal tax rate in Australia kicks in at around 180% of average wages. In the UK, the top marginal tax rate is at 45%, but it kicks in at 45 times. So you wouldn't hit in an Australian equivalent, you would not hit the top marginal tax rate until you hit around $450,000 of income. In the US, it's 6 to 7%. In Singapore, the top marginal tax rate is, if memory serves, 17%. In Hong Kong, it's 22%. We're in a global market for human capital, and we're taxing the buggery out of capital. And they're surprised that people are looking at ways to manage reduce their income tax liabilities.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, as Kerry Packer once said, anyone who is not doing everything they can to minimise their tax needs their head read. And I find it rather ironic as well that negative gearing apparently costs the government in the order of nearly $8 billion a year, right? So if they fiddled with it for really not a lot of return, you know what else they could have done? They could have not jacked up the tobacco excise so much, which has caused them to lose in the order of $10 billion of tax, and they wouldn't have to worry about making up the difference. But here we are. That's where we are. Dimitri Burshtein, thank you so much for joining me tonight.